don't know if I said this. I am doing a book review on the book Hide, and I will be doing a full summary. I will be giving some spoilers, so if you do not want to hear any spoilers or anything like that, I would suggest you click out the video now and stop watching. But besides that, if you want to know what you're going to get into, I really touched the surface on a lot of things, but there will be some spoilers. And I also wanted to say a trigger warning for some of the things I may say or describe that happened in the book. For any other viewers, this is a trigger warning. Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Money's Lounge Room. I'm Money. If you're new here, thank you for stopping by the channel. Hit the subscribe button and hit the like button before the video even starts. I know y'all missed me. This is the first video of 2024. I was about to say 2023. This video is solo. I was thinking, like, was I going to do a podcast or just a regular video of what I'm going to be showing y'all and reviewing today? But I think I'm going to just do a review. So we got 2 items to review, y'all. So the first item we're going to review, so if y'all watched my last video, I think I unboxed the Pink Friday 2 perfume. If y'all seen my last video when I unboxed the Pink Friday perfume, then y'all know I told y'all I had another gift coming. And I did, y'all. It's so cute, y'all. There's, it's super cute. I'm gonna insert a video that I took of it, and it's super cute. For as far as the gift, we're gonna get into her in a second, but this is my first Kurt bag. She's super pretty, she's super petite, and she's pink. So this how the bag look, y'all. And then it just got 2 straps, and then you can add the chain if you want to, or you can take it off. I put the chain on there just to see how it look crossbody. This bag is like the perfect bag. I should did thumbnail too. For a concert, because if you concert a lot like I do, you can't really take like a big size purse inside of a concert arena and stuff like that. So this is like a perfect little size bag for a concert, or if you just like to wear a crossbody bag, that's perfect too. Because like a lot of people, I don't really like carrying my purse all the time, so I do like I have a lot of little crossbody bags. And this is how it looks without the it does look kind of small, but it's really not that small. Like, even the inside got space, but it only has 1 pocket. But it's, like I said, it's a cute little small bag. This is not an everyday bag. I feel like you should not be wearing this bag every day, because for one, it's pink, and this bag also come in black, and I think that's the only 2 colors. But that is the purse. So anyway, let's move on to the next thing. For the new year, like, one of my new year resolutions was getting more into some books. I think it was a couple days after New Year's, but I literally went to Barnes & Noble, a couple books. So I got this book. It's called Hide. It's the name of the book, by Kirsten White. I hope I'm saying the author's name right. I got this in the horror section because I was like, I'm going to just start off with books that I personally like to read and movies that I got my most interest, which is horror, of course, if you know. This is a little bit of the description. The high stakes hide and seek competition turns deadly in the ethereal high energy thriller grounded in a supernatural horror. As the suspenseful plot combines elements of Thomas Tyron's classic Harvest Home, Netflix's Squid Games, and the social commentary of Jordan Peele's film, and mixes these with pacing reminiscent of Jaws, the movie with the sharks, which I couldn't see that. But at first, when I first started reading it, I'm like, I can't really see that for it. But anyway, y'all, I took a lot of notes. Throughout, and I will be giving y'all some spoilers. Basically, I'm going to summarize the whole book. I'm going to give y'all my rating of the book. I don't know if I should say that at the beginning or the end. I think I'm going to save it for the end, and my reason why. Just a little backstory about the book. The challenge is spend a week hiding in an abandoned amusement park and don't get caught. The prize, is enough money to change everything. Even though everyone is desperate to win, to seize a dream future, or escape a haunting past, Mac is sure that she can beat her competitors. All she has to do is hide, and she's an expert at hiding. It's the reason she's alive and her family isn't. But as the people around her begin disappearing one by one, Mac realizes that this competition is even more sinister than she imagined, and that together might be the only way to survive. 14 competitors, 7 days. Everywhere to hide, but nowhere to run. And the little chant that they have is come out wherever you are. If you ever play hide and seek, you know, kids always say that. The book is it is 236 pages. I wanted to read this book in 2 days. I kind of read it in like 4 or 5 days because I just got distracted doing other stuff. But overall, it was a good read. This story basically takes place in a town called Astrian. It's very vacant. Nobody lives there except the people who are basically running the game, the workers or people that have lived in this town. But when you get to this town, it's really a ghost town. Like, nobody's there. Well, let's just get into some of the characters, some of the main characters, a little background. The main character is a girl named Mackenzie, but she goes by Mac throughout the entire story. And she has no family anymore. She currently is like at a shelter. I guess the head of the shelter comes to her, like they have a proposition for her to participate in a competition where she could win $50,000 as a grand prize. Though she like was taken aback and was like she felt like something was wrong about it, she still took it and went with it. So that is how she got into the game. She usually hides often during the day when like the place lets out and stuff like that. Basically the game takes place from dawn to dusk, which is a similar schedule to her being outside of the place and going back inside the place. The lady at the women's shelter basically describes what Ox Extreme Sports is, which is like some company. They have sports and people participate. They run this game maybe every 7 years, which is like a pattern. It's a significance to why they run this game every 7 years. You're winning $50,000 for a game of hide and seek, but you have to stay at this place for 7 days, which doesn't sound that bad when you think about it. But as the story basically progresses, you will understand like why it was like, okay, this is going to be a lot for 7 days. Before we even get into any other characters, we kind of just know Max so far, and she's on her way to the place where this is taking place. Games will be held at an amusement park, which I think has been abandoned for some time now. As far as it being officially open, it hasn't been open since I think the 1900s. Like not the late, I can't even say the late, maybe the late 70s was the last time it was open. And after that, they kind of just started running this game to bring people in, bring competitors in that want to participate in this game. And it's always 14 competitors, which is usually 7 girls and 7 guys. I probably read at least 70 pages the first day. As far as the beginning, it wasn't too prolonged. It was progressing pretty quick. There are old and new buildings as we're coming into this ghost town. It's really dusty. It's like a desert in the middle of nowhere. We're met with a couple other people. If I'm not mistaken, there's a girl named Ava who's a veteran walking in with another girl named Ava. So they call these girls Other Ava and Beautiful Ava. So Beautiful Ava is Instagram fitness influencer. Like she wants to be an Instagram guru for fitness. It was those 3 that met up. They met Mac, kind of got acquainted with her. And there's a guy named LeGrand. Not sure his race. At this point, he has not spoken to anybody. And he was pretty reserved. The most reserved character. We're met with a couple other people. We have a graffiti artist, and I believe his name is Artrice. We have a famous prank show YouTuber named Sydney. Jaden, he is also a gym guru type of guy. Him and Beautiful Ava are definitely going to get acquainted. More so after the first day of them playing the game, alliances were formed. That was like one of the pretty obvious alliances that was formed. I have a future app developer named Logan that wants to create his own apps, and he was really drawn to this because he wanted to meet the people who was running the game. Callus and like different big names, these 7 families that basically run the world and built the world. A couple of them run the game, and he basically came to try to pitch an idea to get them to invest in him. I have a jewelry designer named Rosie. From my understanding, she's a person of color. Actress she has severe food allergies, and she walks around with like EpiPens. Her name is Rebecca. That's also a person of color. And Linda, which was the game coordinator, heirs to the base, set them up, let them know what was going on to the little knowledge she gave them with food, where they were staying. Inside the amusement park, they had a compound base. They had cots, plenty of food. From day one, it looked pretty nice, and it was like, okay, this is going to be okay. That's what the characters are thinking by this point. But Linda doesn't give them a lot of knowledge on what's going on. With somebody named Brandon. He's like one of the most sweetest characters in the book. He worked at a gas station nearby, and he was real generous. Like, he held the door for people. He smiled, appreciative and happy to be there overall. He didn't really care about the prize money or anything like that. He was really focused on making friends and hoping that everybody likes him. He was that type of character. Ian, a guy named Christian. Christian was a solar panel salesman. They call it an internal intern. Like, she has been working interns for a really long time, but not really getting paid for these gigs. So she's there in kitten heels and a suit, and she's thinking she's about to also like pitch an idea and be like, okay, maybe I can get an intern here and make some money, etc. But it does not turn out like that. So I just remember Ian was basically a fake writer. If I'm not mistaken, he was walking around with a pen and a notepad, which a pen he later lost on the bus. Well, basically, as soon as they got off the bus to go into the amusement park, he dropped his pen. But the whole time he was a fake writer. He wasn't really writing any of his stuff. And yeah. Now that you have a little bit more understanding about the characters, let's get more into the story. Excuse me. You're at a diner. Before they even get to the compound and things like that, they took a really long road. It was a really long drive. Linda takes them to a diner where they can fill up, they eat a big breakfast, and they meet a couple of the chefs there. A guy named Ray Callis, which turned out to be related to Brandon Callis. They have the same last name. Another guy, which I forgot his name. They had pretty important characters. They were like some of the people working behind the scenes. After the diner, they fill up and they eat, and they're now met with like the extreme spa, and it's super relaxing. There are hot tub pools. Everybody's taking a hot tub and a shower and going into the next room to relax, all except LeGrand. He is like really to himself still. He's not talking to anybody, and he's just kind of peeping the scene, trying to understand what is really going on. After all of that, they finally do head to the compound, and that's where we're met with like the cots, the snags, toiletries, washrooms to shower and use the restroom, of course, until the game starts. Dawn, as soon as the sun rises, you go out into the amusement park and you find hiding spots. Well, apparently 2 people get caught today. At this point in the story, we don't really know what caught is or what it means, but we just assume that these characters get out and they're no longer in the game, and it just keeps going down day by day, 2 by 2, and then it's down to the last person who gets the 50 grand. After day 1, Mac, our main character, is trying to stay to herself, even though other Ava, the veteran, is pushing really close to her and is like trying to get really acquainted to her. On the bus ride, they pretty much sat together. Ava sat by her at the diner, and Mac is really like shy, and she feel like she doesn't deserve to be anywhere, so she kind of was just pushing away and was like, I want her to go away. Like, why does she keep trying to be my friend, etc. But Mac does hide by herself, and she's met with a wall of rubber duckies, which is something that reminded her of her past from her little sister. Her little sister's name was Maddie. She basically hides on top of this shack with the rubber duckies like lined up. And this is an abandoned amusement park, so they have things like different, all these people are hiding on different pieces of equipment behind different inside of love tunnels or different mirror rooms, abandoned roller coasters, the Ferris wheel, etc., etc. We have beautiful Ava, who gets really, really acquainted with Jaden, who is no other than a typical, like, to describe him, a typical jock type of guy. Like, he's an asshole, probably just a jerk to summarize it up. And she basically follows him, and she's like, I'm going to stick beside him. He was a pretty cocky dude. He seemed like he would make it far in the game. So they go hide together. Artrice hides alone. I believe Ian and the rest of the other people hide alone, as well as Ava, the other Ava, that's the veteran. She hides alone. By the time people make it back, Brandon is super eager to like tell people where he hid, which Mac was like, that really wasn't a good idea, but she lets him vibe out. She doesn't really check anything or say anything about how she felt about that yet, because it was just day 1 and like people were still getting pretty acquainted. And Mac, coming from the shelter, she filled up on a lot of just snacks, and she's just like eager to win this money so she can get away from all the things that she's been through, you know. After day one, the first two people that are out is Ian, the app developer guy, and Isabella, the internal intern. Linda is there, and she pulls up on like a dirt bike because the amusement park is like kind of in the middle of nowhere, so I feel like any houses or the town is pretty far. So she's basically rides in on a dirt bike, tells them who was out this time, which was Isabella and Ian. We also see that Rosie gets out and Rebecca. Rebecca, basically, when she was finding another hiding spot, she's seen Rosie's jewelry because she was, again, the jewelry maker. She's seen pieces of her jewelry sprinkled on the floor. She had a necklace with a pendant that had blood on it. She's seen a missing shoe. She hid in the carousel, so she slowly backed away from that carousel. And shortly after that, it was a big scream that let out. And now Rebecca is out the game as well. But we still don't know what is taking them out. So Christian is pretty sad because as he's hiding up in the roller coaster somewhere, he was imagining a life with Rosie. He pretty much was building a life in his head, waiting from dusk until dawn to like stay in these hiding spots so you don't get caught. And the main objective of the game is, of course, don't get caught. And when it's dawn, you can leave out of your hiding spot when the sun is setting, etc., etc. This is about day 2. Rosie out and Rebecca out. And Jaden also sabotages Sydney, the prank show YouTuber, and gets her out by making a lot of noise by where she was hiding. And she kind of retaliated and was like, "You bitch." And he ran off. That she was out, you hear a loud, sinister scream. Ian, the guy with the notepad, the fake writer, he stumbles upon this place called the Cupid's Cave. And mind you, Linda tells them, like, if you guys can find a book out there, you'll get a bonus. But this bonus turns out to be really non-existent because the book had like some deep, dark secrets in it. And it basically was pointless. And she told people every season that came there to look for that book because she really wanted the book for her own personal gain. He also finds a mural in there painted, and it's like very sinister. It has 7 boys on it, 7 girls, and it has skulls. And it has skulls in it, and it's just really creepy. Ian does find the book, so he is the person that finds the book, and he reads the book. He now realizes that Linda is very aware of what is going on here. He keeps the book on him, but he does not give her the book. After people are kind of like discussing what is going on, and like, okay, a couple people have got out, but we weren't that close, even though they feel bad for them, they're still like, it is what it is, but they're still trying to understand what is going on here because there are a lot of missing pieces in the puzzle. The amusement park and the game itself. At this point on, I don't think Linda was returning anymore on the dirt bike. She came maybe the first 2 nights. They had a spa board meeting. It was pretty awkward. Like, Linda is basically, she has a personal vendetta with the whole situation. She doesn't like any of the other people, her teammates in the board meeting. She doesn't respect them or feel like they are grateful or appreciative of like what they're doing. And she basically feels like she's running things by herself, and this is basically her town. This is her show, and she's doing this for the ancestors. And she's doing this for the grandfathers and the grandmothers and all this other shit. So Linda is crazy. At this point in the story, we realize she's batshit crazy. She always had a little off vibe, though, when you read the book. Anyway, this is when I guess the blessing takes place, and they do the sacrifice initially, and like all these things happen. Christian was found on the edge walking by the gate of the amusement park. Not sure if he was trying to find a way out, if he thought it was a hiding spot out there or what. He was electrocuted because he realizes it was an electric fence, and now he gets scared because he's like, why is it electric fence? Like, why are we really locked in this place? Like, we really couldn't get out and just be out the game. Like, they're basically hostage now. He's extremely shaken and he's scared. So he's seen someone in the tower, which they happen to just fade back away after they see he wasn't trying to climb the fence anymore. Initially, he tries to climb the fence again and he is shot down. He was shot down in the shoulder, but I believe eventually he dies out, and Christian is one of the first characters to actually be has confirmed that they have died because he was shot. And Ian actually runs into Christian after he was shot, and he basically just stumbles back into the park just from running in the opposite direction because he didn't know what was going on. So at this point in the story, we basically come to a point where beautiful Ava is regretting her decision by trying to stick beside Jaden. She realizes he is pretty much like any other guy she's dated as far as just being an asshole and them putting themselves first and her just being treated badly, which she got herself in that situation by wanting to stick with him after several other people invited her like, hey, he is a douchebag, just from knowing him off 2 days or like a few hours. And she still decided like she was going to test her luck and go with the strongest guy, which is a pretty cliche move. But the other Ava, which was a veteran, she basically is very disgusted by Jaden. She walks over and punches him. She punches him down to the ground. She knocks him down. His nose is bleeding and like they're kind of trying to stop it, but she basically was confronting him because she was like, I know you got Sydney out of the game and you're moving sneaky in here and you're getting people kicked out of the game. Like, that's not how the game works. Let the game run its course. Like, why are you helping getting more people out? So when they got back to the compound initially, like, cots were scattered and there was a big spill of blood. And Ava also thought Jaden did that. So again, that's why she attacked him. By day 5, there's only the 2 Avas, Mac, Jaden, LeGrand, and Brandon as the remaining players. Christian and Ian haven't been seen since day 4, which leads me to believe I think Ian was probably killed by the cots and by where everybody was sleeping, because like Christian died out in the park somewhere and Ian ran into him and then he just ran and stumbled back into the park. I don't know if he stumbled back in the park early on before the game ended that day, but I believe that was his blood. So Artrice is really in the cut, and he is a graffiti artist, of course, so he was kind of hanging out in the amusement park after hours when he really shouldn't be doing his work. He also kind of solved the maze and he was leaving little tracks and arrows and things like that on how to get back and around the park, aka the maze. Okay, so by day 5, a lot of people are cracking down. They realize that Jaden is an asshole and beautiful Ava is riding with him, so they basically have about 2 people that can get them out and sabotage their situation. So we now have Ava, Mac, Brandon, and LeGrand going to this love tunnel, which is a pretty big space for multiple people to hide out, but it's kind of an open space, so it's risky. And they label that as their new compound base, where they would meet up if, you know, when the game starts and they go and hide. That's where they're going to meet back up at, not back at the real compound. Now that it's like destroyed and it's bloody and stuff like that. At this point, LeGrand and Mac both feel like they always knew something was off, and they kind of just give each other a look. They don't really verbally say it. LeGrand goes to find another tree to climb. He was a lookout, and he would like, they basically made a plan, like he would make a clicking noise or he would let them know if somebody else was coming, something like that. So they basically form a whole alliance. Ava, Mac, and Brandon both get on top of the little love cave, and they basically hide out there while LeGrand is in the tree, and he'll let them know if somebody's coming. So they tell like Brandon to go find some weapons as they hide, and they come back with a couple of like pipes, some big rocks to hit with, and nothing not really too sharp though. By the end of the night, Ava and Mac are laying on top of the Cupid's cave love tunnel thing, and they're like sharing stories about where they came from and what really happened. And Mac shares the story on how her sister really died, on how her dad basically went batshit crazy and he was looking to kill everybody in the house. He killed the mom and he killed the little sister, but Mac did not die because she basically stole the little sister's original hiding spot that she showed her, and she didn't make room for the little sister to get in there, and the dad found her and killed her. So she has always carried this guilt of feeling like she should have just not have done that and let her sister hide in a spot. And it also plays into why she's here in the game. Like a lot of these people, all of these people are tied to some of the families in the 7 bloodlines that connects everybody to this story, except the veteran Ava, because they claim her mom was like, her dad wasn't really her dad, but the man signed the birth certificate anyway because he didn't care about that. He cared about the mom and the daughter. So she really didn't have no genuine tie to this. And I feel like that plays a part in this too. They're exchanging stories. Ava also explains what happened to her in combat and how she lost someone named Maria, and she lost her leg. She also has like a amputated leg too. But at this point in the story, we realize Jaden has officially abandoned beautiful Ava, which sucks because she was having second doubts and she honestly thought he was just going to kill her. But no, he led her deep into like the amusement park and he climbed up these vines that he knew she couldn't climb. And by the way, her cycle had just started, so she was starting to bleed. And she was kind of glad to just get away from him, but he was just like, see you later. Like, you're on your own. And she's running around trying to find where to go. She doesn't really know where to go, and she's kind of hearing things in the background. And she's hearing this monster. And at this point, we realize that there's something in the woods that's eating people. And they don't think it's a human. It's some type of monster or mutation because it's killing. And yeah, Ava stumbles upon where they're all hiding out because LeGrand gives a little signal and lets them know like somebody's approaching. They honestly think it was the monster or the killer or whoever is getting these people out. And it turned out to be beautiful Ava. So the other Ava hops down and she chases after her to like, she thinks it's a setup and that beautiful Ava is trying to take them down, which she wasn't. And somehow beautiful Ava gets killed. And the other Ava disappears. After that happens, and they're like, shit, our Ava is going too. Like, they assume she's dead as well. Brandon, LeGrand, and Mac both just try to, all three of them try to leave. And, like, they almost was shot as well, trying to escape. And at this point, they're just hiding, trying to find another plan to get out of here, or to at least take the monster down. Like, they were setting up a plan to take the monster down. So as the three of them are looking to find something, they're actually looking to find where Jaden is hiding because they blame him for both of the Ava's deaths and Sydney's death. So they find him, and Brandon goes inside of where Jaden was hiding. He pulls this guy out and he throws him off of the tall like vines or trees they was in. And then Brandon, and this is a trigger warning, but he just offs himself after that. After he throws Jaden to the ground, who is still breathing, he trust falls himself and splats himself on the ground as a sacrifice for Mac and LeGrand, because he felt like that was something he had to do because Ava was gone and Brandon was the one who led them to this hideout spot, so he felt like he was responsible for what happened. Shortly after that, at this point, Jaden is still breathing, but he can't really move or walk. His legs are broken. Everything is broken. Soon the monster comes, and they're actually met with a figure, and they see what the monster looks like, and it is atrocious. It's crazy. Described very beast-like. The nails are very sharp and scary. He was blood-drenched and very tall. It was just a complete beast. And the beast continues to eat Jaden. So they run and they hide. Mac and LeGrand are hiding in a tree somewhere. They're hiding in a tree. Mac is extremely hurt by Ava because she felt like they grew close. Of course, they like each other, so she was disappointed that Ava chased after the other Ava and got eaten. So they assume. So Mac jumps out the tree first, thinking she's going to be met with the beast. At this point, she's ready to die and sacrifice herself as well because she didn't want to be there anymore. She jumps down, and who does she see? She sees Ava, the veteran Ava, still walking, still limping with her amputated leg, and she was still alive, and they were confused. They were like, why is she alive? And LeGrand soon meets up with them too, and he's like, oh, you still alive? Like, okay, cool. And she kind of explains, like, beautiful Ava was definitely eaten, but she couldn't see the figure. She couldn't see what was eating them. But she basically confirmed that there was monsters there. And well, not monstrous, but it was a beast, and she was eaten by something, an energy, because she couldn't see it. Ava couldn't see it, but they were kind of confused because both LeGrand and Mac can see this figure, but them two are part of the bloodline situation, so it was like they seen it because of the sacrifice that they did years back, maybe like 1925, I believe, when it started. They're a part of that bloodline in real time, so they was able to see it in the other Ava. She wasn't necessarily a real her father wasn't really her father, so basically she couldn't see the figure because it wasn't meant for her, and the figure never ate her. So Ava was still alive, which I feel like was a pretty good plot twist. I really liked that touch because I was like, dang, I didn't want her to die in the story because she was like one of my favorite characters. And Ava explains to them how she basically got out of the compound. She killed Ray Callis, which was Brandon Callis's blood. She killed him and took the rifle so they can have a gun while they're like doing what they're doing. So at this point in the story, they are getting out of there. They're getting out of there, and they're out of the compound. They do some type of thing, swing across the vine and hop out of there so they're not hit by the electric fence. And they're walking, and Ava is in some really bad condition, and she can barely walk, but they're walking, and they're met with this big house, big pillars. There's no car in the driveway. There's a dirt bike though. And off the wrap, I'm like, this is Linda's house. Like, I feel like it was Linda's house. So they go inside and they just sit down for a minute because they're extremely tired. But then they start exploring, and they're looking at a china wall, and like Mac sees this name engraved, which is her father's middle name. So more pieces are starting to come together. Like they're a part of this. Like, why does this person hear their last name, or like the guy who shared the chef's last name? And like they're seeing little symbolisms around the amusement park. Like it was all symbolism, and it tied into why they brought them there. Like it was all planned out. It was real strategic. But by the time they realize this, they find another journal and they read it. And it has notes in it from Linda's mom when Linda was a baby, of how she started this and how they conjured up this coven to protect them and always bless them and etc. And they get up to the pages where Linda is writing, and she orchestrated a lot of this for years. She did at least like 6 rounds of the show on her own. And by the time they're done reading, Linda walks in. She's like, they're tying her up to the table. They're strapping her in. They're asking her questions, guns pointed, and they're just like, we know everything. Like, we read the books. We know y'all started this, and we want out. We want to leave. Like, a beast killed the friends we made, etc. And Ava is ready to just dead her and go. But Mac is like, we're going to go back in there because Linda was all like, yeah, if y'all leave, we're just going to replace them. And LeGrand has about 36 siblings. And she was like, yeah, your dad is like a big contributor here, and he will just give us more of his kids so we could use them for the next round. And he has a sick little sister that he cares a lot about, that he wanted to get out of there to get back to. And he was just like, well, if you promise not to do anything to her, we'll go back in the amusement park. And Ava's the only one with her sense. And she was like, what? Y'all going back in the amusement park after I came back to rescue y'all and get y'all out? So they head back there. Before they head back, they're like, well, you can give Ava the money. Let her have the money because she can't get affected by the beast, etc., etc. And she's like, I don't have any money. But then they pry it out of her. She has a safe with money in it. So Ava takes some cash, and she takes like a lot of classical jewelry that has some worth to it. So they head back inside. They conduct the plan because Linda initially turns on them, and she almost killed Ava. She was seconds away from killing Ava until LeGrand shot her down. He didn't kill her though, but she was shot down and like slowly just bleeding out, etc. And they conduct this plan to blow the whole place up. They have like a lighter match in a bottle with a shirt in it, and they're about to burn the whole spot down. And they do that, and they make it out, and Linda's already on the outside, and she's laughing. She's like, the beast isn't going to die, you know. It still has to eat. So, after that, Max signals both LeGrand and Ava to just go to the car and wait for her there. She'll be on the way. And she gives the handkerchief with her father's middle name planted on it. She places it on top of the lady, and she puts the shoe on the lady from, I believe, Rosie's shoe. And she just shrugs her shoulder, and she's like, who gives a fuck? And they walk off, and that's the end of the story. And basically, the Last Supper for the Beast was Linda, the one who orchestrated the whole thing. And yeah, she was eating, and I feel like that was a really good like plot twist at the end, because I thought they were gonna die. I'm just like, why did Ava go back in there with them? Like, I would have straight up left. Like, okay, y'all want to go back in there? Okay, cool. I'm going to leave. I'm going to take this money. I helped y'all out this far. Good luck. But it shows she still had, like, her soldier in her. Like, she was a veteran. So I feel like she still had that in her to, like, just protect and serve and just still go all out regardless of what happened. So that is the end, you guys. That is my summary of the book. And I was going to give the book an 8.5, but I feel like overall, initially I'll give the book a 9, just from start to end, I was pretty much intrigued. I feel like little things were just kind of prolonged, or I feel like little things was kind of just prolonged for a little bit, and it could have been a little bit just summarized more. And we could have better details in there on other things. But, like, overall, I'd give this book a 9. I really enjoyed the book. And I enjoyed the whole plot. The diversity and things like that. And, yeah, that is the first book review, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this book review. Again, if you didn't really want to hear any spoilers, you shouldn't have watched all the way to the end. But if you made it to the end, don't forget to hit the like button. If you have any book suggestions or anything I should read next or review next, movie-wise as well, let me know. You can comment that down below and hit the subscribe button. And, yeah, thanks, y'all, for tapping in. Bye.